Hello and welcome to Horror and Monster Collectibles, where today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Sideshow Collectibles exclusive Valak the Nun statue. So let's spin it around and take a closer look at this small but very cool piece. First, we will take a closer look at the base. Look at the bottom of the base. The exclusive version has a run of 200, and I think the standard has a run of 400. I like the graphics on here. Just kind of spin the base around. But the sculpt is very well done, and so is the paint app. Here is the base, top. The paintwork through here is also well done. And I gotta say that Sideshow did a good job on here. It's also heavy, so it feels actually pretty stout, so I feel like it's probably solid polystone. We'll set this guy back here. Now we will look at the two Candelabras, and this one is the one that goes in the back. I really like the way they sculpted the smoke effect here as a candle is snuffed out. The idea being that as she moves through the hallways, her evil smokes out the flames of the candles. So this one is in the process of being extinguished. And that's a really cool effect. We'll set that down real quick and we'll look at the other one, which has the same base, but this one is a lit candle. And I really like the ornamentation that they have going on here. Now this is made out of a soft PVC material, and which makes sense because this is likely to get broken off. Things like this I really don't mind being made out of softer material. Now this part itself is stout, but these little ornamentations are made of PVC. And now here are those two pieces set in place, and they just key into the base. Pretty simple. They don't sit necessarily straight, which not sure if they're drilled at an angle on the base or what. But there is some crookedness going on here. This guy's a little wonky. Kind of want him to go back a little bit, but still cool. Let's take a closer look now at Valak's body. Which there's not a whole lot as far as paintwork going on here. Not a lot to look at as far as that, but the sculpt is very well done. It does look like a flowing material, and they also have a different texture to this piece. And her hands are well done. I really like the coloring on there, actually. I like that a lot. I think that looks really cool. So let's get her on there. There's a key feature right here. So we'll go ahead and pop her on there. I can from this angle. There we go. Let's grab the two portraits. This is the standard version, which is well colored. They did a great job on here. But we will go with the Screaming Mouth portrait exclusive, I think. So let's go ahead and look at that one, because I think she looks better with this on there. But super cool. So we're just going to drop her on there like that. There's a nice positive engagement here with these magnets too, which I really like. And here is the habit. Again, not a whole lot going on here in the way of paint, but the sculpt is nice. And this just kind of drops over top of her head, like so. So let's get some closer shots of her all set up. I will say this release kind of surprised me from Sideshow, just because I don't know, they've kind of backed off of horror altogether, and this was an odd choice just because they haven't really done anything horror. They've, from my understanding, is they have decided to focus on their Court of the Dead line as far as that genre, and really aren't focusing on other horror stuff. And this is also curious too, just because of the size. She is probably, the best I can guess in measuring her is about 1/8 scale, which is very curious to me. I don't really understand the size choice here. She's just big enough to give her a decent amount of presence, but I mean, it's just really weird that they chose that size. I feel like since the size is curious and the release is curious, just because of them backing off of horror, it feels like this is a piece that they bought from somewhere and they released under Sideshow. It does not feel like a piece that they did themselves. I could be wrong, but I just kind of get that feeling about it. It's definitely atypical. Let's get the other portrait on there so you can kind of see what she looks like with a standard portrait. Here's that portrait swapped out, and she looks good even with this version. I mean, if you're a collector and you can only get the standard version, you're still going to be happy with this. At least I am. I haven't been excited about a Sideshow release in a long time. I feel like the company's kind of let me down, mainly because I do horror, and they just have really kind of dropped the ball, especially from the company that they were 10 or 15 years ago. But I really like this release by them. Alright, so final thoughts on the piece. I actually think it's kick-ass. It is small, but it still has a pretty good presence. The total height of the base to the top is about 13 3/8 inches, and Valak herself from the bottom to the top is just under 9. And I think she's great. I wish she had at least been quarter scale. Again, this is just a curious release by them. I'm not really understanding it, but I really love it. I actually love the character more than the movie. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like the Nun movie was pretty terrible, if I'm going to be honest. It was pretty awful. I did not like it, but I love the Conjuring universe, and you throw me out an evil nun and I'm going to be down. I really think that she's a cool piece to own, even though I don't really care for the movie, which may sound weird to people, but I don't know, it seems to make sense to me. Now, Iron Studios actually just sent me an email for their release, which is about half the price of this, but it's a bit smaller and it doesn't look near as cool to me, so I'm actually going to cancel that pre-order. And if you really like the Nun, Prime 1 has that half-scale one. I think it's like $2,000, but I don't want to invest in the character that much. This right here is just cool enough for me, and I actually really like the price point, and I feel like you're getting a lot for this price. She feels solid. She feels like solid polystone with, you know, PVC ornamentation, which I'm okay with. Like, as long as it's not something that's going to droop over time or anything like that, then I'm perfectly fine with it. If it helps curb breakages and stuff, I really don't mind. But the body and the base feel all very solid. So as always, feel free to leave any questions or comments that you might have on the piece, and I'll be happy to answer them. And feel free to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications for new videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.